I know.
Please rise. March on the colors.
Good luck.
Ils ne vieilliront pas comme nous, qui leur avons servi. Ils ne connaîtront jamais l'outrage ni le poids des années. Quand viendra l'heure du crépuscule et celle de l'aurore, nous nous souviendrons.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not worry them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to thank the President of our local Legion Branch 97, Carl Garber, for serving as Master of Ceremonies today. I think that at this time it is appropriate to remember Robert Feldstein, who has served in this role for many years, and who passed away last year. He gave an extraordinary amount of time and effort to our local Legion, Branch 97, and in honor of him and all of the men and women who were part of our local branch who passed away over the last few years, I do want to say that they are sorely missed. They are sorely missed together with all of your friends and comrades who served this nation's armed forces. Côte Saint-Luc, like so many communities across Canada, was largely built by servicemen and women coming back from the Second World War. Until the 1950s, we were a little village of a few thousand people. But starting in 1946 and by the late 1950s, homes were built across the cities, services were provided, we built all of our municipal institutions moving forward into the 60s and 70s, and made that little village a larger city of over 32,000 people. And what you did when you came home was instill a spirit of volunteerism in the population of Côte Saint-Luc. Because not only did you serve your country, but you also served your community and your municipality. Donc aux hommes et aux femmes qui ont servi dans le militaire, je vous dis merci, un grand merci, au nom de vos enfants, vos petits-enfants, et de tous les résidents de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc. I know that the weather today wasn't perfect. I know that we had all planned to be outside, but I can honestly say, as mayor of the city, in a room where I have performed hundreds and even thousands of functions, this is the proudest function that I could ever perform in this room talking to you and thanking you for your service. So thank you so much.
Can I add just a little footnote on it? As some of you know, and some don't know, why it is called VE Day. The Germans surrendered on May the 5th. Negotiations went on until May the 8th. And from then on, May 8th has been called VE Day, which is victory in Europe. We are here today to pay our respects and to honor those who sacrificed their young lives for years and our freedom. We need to honor all veterans who did so much to define our nation, and we cannot allow their enormous sacrifice to slip away into the darkness. And this is why Legion members, after rituals, will always say, "We will remember."
And so I'm pleased to be here today. It allows me to recall also on a very personal level some of the most important remembrances and lessons taught to me by my father of blessed memory, who always would go on and on about the fact that the Second World War represented horrors too terrible to be believed, but not too terrible to have happened. And those who are with us know only too well both the profundity and the pain that that statement also implies.
We are gathered here today in sadness to remember and salute all of those young people who left our shores, who went and gave their lives for our freedom and for our country. They all left individual families. And one can only imagine the pain in their hearts, and certainly the pain in the hearts of their families upon learning of their passing.
We were that which others did not want to be. We went where others feared to go, and did what others failed to do. We asked nothing from those who gave nothing, and reluctantly accepted the thought of eternal loneliness should we fail. We have seen the face of terror. We have cried, pain and hope, but most of all, we have lived times others would say were best forgotten. At least someday we will be able to say that we were proud of what we were, a soldier.
Who fought through the Second World War, and the grandson of a soldier who fought through the First World War, to be invited to join you today. So it is in your honour that I pay this a very small tribute. Thank you so much.
Today we pay a special tribute to the veterans of the Royal Canadian Legion Branch number 97 and other branches throughout Montreal and beyond for their bravery and steadfast courage in this fight. We also mourn the loss of those who never returned from battle. Their death on the battlefield were not in vain. As we stand in remembrance 65 years later, we are no less indebted to each and every one of the veterans of the Second World War, for their will and sacrifice is perhaps the noblest contribution to the causes of justice and freedom that humankind has ever known. Thank you very much. Tadama.
The story you're about to hear is an intensely personal story. Yes, I am the Honorary Consul of the Netherlands since March of this year. But more important, I'm a Côte Saint-Luc boy. My father, who is the man with more hair than his son has, standing there, Max Polak, many of you know him, he was the judge of Côte Saint-Luc for many years. Not only do I stand before you as a Côte Saint-Lucer, not only do I stand in front of you today as the Honorary Consul of the Netherlands, but I stand to you before you today as the son of a Holocaust survivor. My mother was in a camp for almost 5 years. Her entire family was in a camp. And you can only imagine how incredibly emotional this is for me to stand here, to see gentlemen, many of whom even served in Europe, and in Holland itself, the country of my parents' birth. The thank you that I can give you now, it will never be enough. 7,600 of your comrades perished in the fields of Holland. I can tell you that my parents, after leaving the Holocaust situation in Europe, which was intensely difficult, they lost many family members, they ended up settling right here in Côte Saint-Luc. And as Mayor Housefather said so beautifully before, they were part of the group that came here to build this fantastic community. They came here in 1962. I remember Mayor Lang living on McClear, who knew me when I was this high. And he would come around all the time. He knew me as a little boy. And I see Alan Levine, Councillor Levine, who taught myself, who taught my sisters at Wager High School. It is very personal. It is very special. Of all the events that I could have as the Honorary Consul of the Netherlands, I can't imagine anything more important than being here today with the greatest, greatest people. And I repeat, we will always remember, we will never forget. Thank you so much.
Art Maggie, are you here? I know it's unexpected, but I'd like you to come up and say a few words. Art Maggie is with the American Legion Post 20, Plattsburgh, New York.
Kind of unprepared for this, because normally Bobby speaks all the talk for me. I want to thank you people for the invite again this year. I'm going back 39 years when I first got an invite from Bob Felstein and several others, Eddie Soloway and them, to come up here and lay a wreath on behalf of the veterans of the U.S. and Canada. And it has been my honor to continue to do this 37 of the last 39 years. It's a great honor. I want to honor all the World War II veterans. As you know, they're dying by 14,000 a day. A lot of my friends that I know from Branch 97, I don't see them no more. And it breaks my heart when I have to think back on Bob Felstein, Al Kaplan, and a few others that I've known so dearly over the years. I thank you for your service. I thank you for what you have done for not only Canada, but for the nation as a whole. And this, I can't say enough. Thank you.
And I would recommend that what we do here today be more than a ceremony or a tradition of recognition of view the veterans as individuals for what you have accomplished. But we have to recognize the generation, and we have to understand for the future generations that they should understand how it is to have an experience where freedom triumphs over oppression, where humanity and caring triumph over hatred and prejudice, and where equality and democracy triumph over injustice. And the message of VE is what has to, and what was accomplished needs to be passed on to be taught from one generation to the next.
I got a good compliment yesterday afternoon. After the services in the morning, I went into the mall for a cup of coffee. And the young lady looked at me and says, "Geez, I didn't know they give medals to the Boy Scouts."
It's common, though, too, I think, to wonder, as a person in middle age, am I up to the challenges that have been set by people who go before me? There was the American journalist, Tom Brokaw, referring to you, many of you in this room today, this generation of the Second World War. He called you, in a book with the same name, the greatest generation, because of the standards you set for the rest of us to follow, for the achievements of your time, for standing up in the face of tyranny. Mr. Kotler and Mr. Bergman have spoken locally about, for doing what needed to be done. One question is then, as a father and as a child, am I up to, or are my children up to, or the next generations will they do what the past generations have been able to achieve? I'm happy to be here today to say, if you look to the distant hills of dusty Afghanistan, if you think about young men and women serving aboard ships in pirate-infested waters off of Africa, if you think about men and women who've gone into harm's way in earthquake-ravaged Haiti, if you think about the services that have been rendered in places in the Balkans and elsewhere, I think we can conclude that the generations who followed you have taken heart from your example, who have looked to the standards you've set and seek to meet them, if not overcome them. I think today, when we feel sadness and loss for the passage of so many friends, 14,000 a day, I have no idea the numbers are so high. We feel sadness and sorrow for the passage of so many good friends, so many heroes, so many patriots, day after day. We should also be grateful for the record that you've set for other people who come behind you, and we should be not skeptical, as one with teenagers just tends to be from time to time. We should be optimistic. We should be happy about the future. Thank you for the standards you've set. Thank you for the history you've written for all of us to live from and learn from. Thank you most of all for inviting me here to speak to you today. I wish you a very happy day and many happy returns. Thank you.
No, we're talking about the park, but I would like the citizens of Côte Saint-Luc to go and visit Veterans Park. It was made not only for veterans, younger generation that have to learn, and besides that, it looks good. I would like to ask all Legion members to join me up on the podium. Oh, yeah. Take a good look. Can you imagine all these guys at 18 years old